Welcome to another edition of Big Ooh Top 20 Countdown. This week we're counting down the top 20 R&B songs. Plus we have our special guest, Kayne D. And we have some really great comedy corner that's gonna really make you feel laugh. And some extra songs are really gonna like make you groove. But you guys, let's get into the countdown. The number 20 song comes from Drake and 21 Savage. This song is called Spin About You. Let's get into it. Spin About You by Drake and 21 Savage on Big Old Top 20 Countdown. Hey guys, that was number 19 is Lizzo featuring SZA. That song was called Special. We're talking to our guest, Kayne D. What's going on, man? How you doing?
What's up? Just out here. I'm actually at the beach. I just met with my stylist. I have a show tomorrow in Hollywood. So I'm pretty excited for that. Tomorrow is March 2nd. So not sure when this is going to be uploaded. But yeah, I got a show with my homie D Graves.
Wow, that is so, man. You got a stylist. Wow, that is awesome. A stylist. Oh my God. You
Yeah,
are
she's
super.
pretty cool too.
Oh my gosh. Tell my listeners about yourself.
Yeah. Well, I come from Tacoma, Washington. I started out as a dancer and actually transitioned into, I guess you could say, like a rapper. And then from there, I kind of decided that wasn't really my route. No disrespect to any rappers or anything, but I just, decided to clock into my rock star era, I would say, which is just really just believing in yourself. You know what I mean? I'm like a friendly neighborhood rock star. I love to connect the dots, love to really be involved and, give advice to artists that maybe are not in the same position I'm in. I know, kind of growing up and through this music stuff, I've just been learning a lot. And it's a pretty vicious world. And I think it's important that people understand what it actually takes. And, people can have mentors and things like that. There's a lot of steps and processes, like a systematic approach that really is really fundamental for growth and expansion of really anything that you want, but specifically for sure in music. It's important to have like a healthy support system and really have a machine that you're building.
Yeah. Describe your transition. When did you start becoming a dancer? When did you become a dancer? What age?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it was in 2009, so that probably would have had to been like, well, let's see, it's 2023, so minus 10 is 13. I'm 26 now, so that's like 16. So I guess we could say I'm not really good at math, but I think it'd be 13, 12, 13 years old when New Boys came out with You're a Jerk. And then before that, actually, in elementary, I was a cheerleader, but I was only a cheerleader, or I was on drill team. And that was just because there were some pretty girls, and my best friend was like, yo, you got to be on drill team. So then I did that, and it was kind of like a mix of dance and like drill. But yeah, no, as far as like dancing goes, yeah, 2009 was when I really started to learn how to like jerk and stuff. And yeah, so that's kind of how that transitioned. And then from there, I learned how to do that. And I had a friend who's really good at dancing. His name's Devin Campbell. He goes by New Style Precision. He's on like all the social media. He's really good at dancing. Kind of reminds me of Moose from Step Up. But then he took me under his wing and trained me. And then Varsity Crew Entertainment became a dance team in high school because I actually wasn't good enough to get on my high school dance team. So I made my own. And yeah, I mean, it's honestly kind of the story of my life. I wouldn't say that I wasn't good enough at this point in time in my life, but I really enjoy making my own stuff. Like this is my clothing line, this is my merch. I really stay to really grounded to what I like to do and the way that I like to do it. I guess that probably sounds like diva-ish or whatever, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
You're being real. You're being real. But you
Yeah.
guys, we're going to talk more to our guests, Kane, but let's get back in this countdown. The number 18 song is Rihanna. I love this song. The song is called Lift Me Up. Let's get into it. Lift Me Up by Rihanna on Big Old Top 20 Countdown. Yeah, you guys, that was the number 17 song, Tuesday with Favorite Song. And we're talking to our guest, Kayne D. Before we go to your transition of you going into rapping, Kayne, is that your given name or is that your stage name?
Yeah, no, so I was actually named after the movie Menace to Society.
Okay.
Um yeah, so I guess that tells you a little bit about my background. It's a really good movie, honestly. It has a very clean mess, like a very divine message if you pick that up or not, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so that's kind of what happened. My mom, she had me when she was 14, actually, pretty wild.
Wow.
And yeah, I was named after Menace to Society. And so yeah, that's my given name. And Dynel is actually my middle name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't
Mhm.
really go by my last name very much, but yeah, my stage name is my first and middle.
Oh, that is so cool. That is
Yeah.
so cool. So then, how did you graduate from being a dancer to go into rapping?
Um, honestly, it's funny because it was always prefaced a certain type of way to like try and do it. I just never really thought that it would really make sense for like what I was trying to do.
Mhm.
Um, and then I don't know, I think that it just kind of became a thing. We started as a dance team and then we actually switched over into making music as a group. And then people kind of grew up, had kids, all that stuff. And after a while, it really just kind of became to be only on me, and so I was like, all right, well, solo dancing is not really going to work out. I don't think, not the way that I was trying to perform and stuff. And so started trying to make music, and the rest is history. I started with my first mixtape, spent like $500, which isn't, I guess, like a lot of money to some people, or maybe it is, but yeah, I spent
Yeah.
like $500 to get that recorded, and I thought it was the hottest thing in the world, and it was honestly like the hottest piece of trash. But it made me
Ah!
learn, like what I needed to do better, and I got to meet the people that I got to meet, and started building my team and my empire. And Varsity Crew Entertainment now is my record label, or sorry, my entertainment label, which I am obviously signed to. It's me, and it's mine. And so it's pretty cool to come a long way and be able to say that my dance team is also the music holder of all my rights, which is myself. So staying independent. And I have
Wow.
partners too. I have a publishing partner, 58 Projects. They're in New York, and they publish my music and help me get into ink sync stuff and whatnot. But that's all boring. But yeah, no, the transition, man, I just thought that, like, the biggest thing was memorization. You can memorize a dance move as a dancer, right? But like if you fill up a stadium with 100,000 people, or maybe even 1,000, whatever, right? But like if you fill up a place with 1,000 people and they're all singing your song, that's way more likely than 1,000 people doing your dance. I think that was kind of like a big selling point for me when it came to making music, because you can be passionate about something, but like I really, really enjoy people being on the same vibe and the same energy as me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And then you discover that you didn't like that. What was that? What
You mean
what you said that you transitioned from a rapper to a rock star now.
right, right. I mean, well, there's a lot of things, right? And I mean, you kind of have to skate this topic pretty carefully, because obviously it's important, and heritage and culture, those are all super, super important things. I come from, for most people probably don't know, but I'm like Puerto Rican, right? And I'm also Black.
Mhm.
And so, so it's like there's a lot of heritage and culture that goes within music and creativity. And I think one of the bigger things is, basically being able to, I guess, kind of line up how that all lines up with you and what you're putting out to your audience, to your supporters.
Mhm.
That's really, really important to me, because I have this internet, what I do on the internet and things like that, and that's all definitely all real and realistic for me as a person. But there's other sides of me in which I just really want to make sure that people understand that I'm kind of misunderstood. But that's part of the reason why I have the persona and the things that I do, is because a lot of people are so quick to tell you you can't do something and things like that. And I think that's kind of the overall situation, is I just want to make sure that everything aligns correctly with the culture and just who you are, staying true to yourself. It's really easy to get lost in this world.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I think
But you
that
guys
answered
want you go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that answered your question. I may not have answered it.
Yeah,
I
you
think
did. You did kind of, sort of. You
yeah.
did kind of, sort of. But you guys, let's get back in this countdown. The number 16 song is, I actually like this song. It's by NF. This song is called Hope. Let's get into it. NF Hope on Big Stop 20 Countdown. That's still there from Soul Train. Always have to say that during the show. You guys, that was the number 15 show, SZA with Nobody Gets Me. Oh, I love that's one of my favorite songs from her album. Now, you guys, it's time to get into the first extra song of the week. It's by Kayne Dinell. This song is called Alone. Tell me about this song, please.
Yeah, so it's actually a collaboration with me, Low Key Beats, and Astro Fame. They're, some people that are very important to me and my team, within just like background stuff and just kind of helping me with things. And Alone is really just kind of about, like just because you're alone and you're feeling that type of way, you got to remember that you still have purpose, so like part of my, part of it says like, you're in the back of my mind, I'm not thinking about you no more, right? It's like a lot of times we can get jaded with relationships and like not even just romantic, but just overall relationships and different things that people get like tied to, and those emotions, right? And sometimes you are left feeling alone because you feel betrayed and things like that. And I think that this song is really going to resonate with people that can feel that way. And I think the big thing about me identifying as a rock star, from the neighborhood rock star, I think a rock star, in my opinion, is doing and feeling the best way that you can as a person, no matter what somebody tells you. So I mean, when people have a traditional understanding of what a rock star is, I think immediately they're quick to think that it's like, oh, accolades and Hall of Fame and Ozzy Osbourne and Machine Gun Kelly and that kind of stuff. But it's like, it's a mindset. It's really, you could be a rock star, however you're feeling, you know what I mean? Like you want to feel on top of the world. And so Alone is really about that. It's really just kind of bringing the really dope melodies, the really dope instruments to come together and create a song that can help somebody that may be feeling alone not feel so alone and get back to exactly what they need to do and what they wish they could do, but they were feeling down at that moment. You're not alone, even though you feel like it. And it's okay to feel alone, but just know that it's a mindset.
Wow. So let's get into it. I like that explanation. This is Kayne Dinell with Alone on the Gold Top 20 Countdown. Yeah, y'all, I like that song. I actually got to hear it before the show. It's really cool because I always scream scream my songs before I put it on. But I was like, I liked it. That was really good. And you guys, you know how I met this brother? I met him over at DJ Breed's event in over in Northridge. You remember that? It was like almost a month ago. Yeah, it was really cool. We had
Yeah,
a good time. We had a really good time. I was like, I got to get you on my show. And he was like, okay. Okay. I said, okay. Man. And so you're doing a lot. How many albums do you have out?
albums. That's an interesting question. So I right now I've been dropping singles, as well as kind of like two pieces. And I think an album is a body of work, which is definitely needed. But I think an album is also for 100% dedicated fan base and foundation. And I think that my singles are going to lead and continue to create my foundation, laying brick by brick by brick. So the way that I look at it is each one of my singles or each one of my 2 packs, um, they're the foundation. You know what I'm saying? So when we're ready, I think the albums will start to come. But I think I'm still in the process of really getting these singles down and illustrating to people who I am and what I'm about, because it's really easy to be misunderstood in this world. And kind of like I said, when I was on the Kai Sanat talent show, uh, which was really cool. It was in front of like 120,000 people virtually in an undisclosed location. And yeah, it's like you got to just create and build that foundation. And, I kind of identify as also not only a rock star, but, like the weird emo kid, like the kid that sat by himself at school, because everybody was too cool for me, and there's, like I said, there's a lot that people think just because they hear me say, you're a rock star, I'm a rock star. It's very quick for people to jump in and say you're cocky, you're conceited, you need to humble down. But it's so much deeper than that. And obviously these interviews and things like that are places where I can, I guess, expand on that, because this is where I can kind of share what I really feel.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And describe to me, you said you're from Tacoma, Washington. By the way, shout out to my university I'm going to out there, Faith International. Yeah. Tacoma. But how did you transition from Tacoma to California?
Um, well, actually, I came down here for So You Think You Could Dance in the very beginning of whenever I think that was like 2000 and I'll say it was like 2010 maybe or something like that. And it was the So You Think You Could Dance audition, and my dad actually lived out here. And so we were coming to meet him for the first time because he wasn't in my picture back in the day, childhood wise. He left my mom pretty early in the game. And we don't really talk too much. We talk every now and then. And yeah, you know what I mean? That's why we originally came down, as he was supposed to be at my graduation and he wasn't there. Which was a pretty interesting emotion that I felt. And so I expressed to him that, hey, like, I want to meet you. You know what I mean? I don't know you. And I just did a very big accomplishment and graduated high school when most of my family, comes from a background where that's not really a thing, and
Wow.
so it's about being a role model and a leader. And that was a really big moment where he said he might be there and he wasn't. And so I was like, look, we need to meet so that way I can at least put a face to a name. And so long story short, that's pretty much how it worked out. I came down here with the girl and my mom and siblings, and we rocked out for a little bit, and it was kind of cool. And then after that, I think after that was the So You Think You Could Dance. And then it kind of just became a thing where I was taking trips, like your average person. And then after a
Yeah.
while, I was like, I think that California is where I need to be to really grow, to really show people what I'm about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys, we're going to talk more to our guests, Kane Dynell. But you guys, let's go back in this countdown. The number 14 song comes from Gorilla and Cardi B. This song is called Tomorrow 2. Let's get into it. Tomorrow 2 by Gorilla and Cardi B on Big Old Top 20 Countdown. Yeah, you guys, we did 3 in a row for you. We did Gorilla and Cardi B at number 14 with Tomorrow 2. Number 13 was Superstar Pride with Painting Pictures. And number 12 was SZA with Snooze, one of my absolute favorites. Now, you guys, it's time to get into the comedy corner. The comedy corner is a really, really funny comic. I just hooked up with him through a friend. His name is Fraser Smith. Let's get into it. Fraser Smith, the comedy corner on Big O's Top 20 Countdown. Yeah, you guys, that was a very, very funny Fraser Smith. We're talking to our guest, Kayne Dynell. Wow. So how would you describe your musical style?
I looked it up the other day on Apple, and it said that I am very similar to Machine Gun Kelly, MGK, Swaco, and this guy named Jaden, who's pretty big in the pop, punk rock kind of vibe scene. And so I would say overall, the easiest way to put it is pop, but when you dive into the subgenres, I would say that there's a little bit of EDM that people haven't even heard yet that I'm getting ready to put out as far as remixes go, and maybe some originals. And then there's also my pop side. There's the hip hop side. It really kind of just depends on the mood of the song. I wouldn't really call myself a single genre artist, but overall I do make music that falls under pop. So yeah, I would say that overall that's going to be like the musical side of it. Some of my bigger influences are going to be like MJ, Chris Brown's pretty legendary. Not saying that I co-sign any of his other stuff, right? But as far as the musical talent and things like that,
I understand. Trust.
yeah. But that man is beyond talented. Just like Michael Jackson was. So I would say those are definitely some big ones. Which obviously, as a dancer, dancers that can sing and do the whole thing, that's obviously going to be a big inspiration for me.
Wow, that is so cool. So you said you're the influencing. Wow. What is one thing that you would really like to do that you haven't done yet?
It's pretty crazy. I would say, this is like manifestation times a million, right? Because I'm like definitely not there yet. But I would love to perform at the Madison Square Garden. I think it's doable. But there's a lot that goes into that, and accolades and such, and making sure things get right. But I would say that that's definitely a manifestation of mine, performing in New York at the Madison Square Garden, which is really cool because next week I actually have a show in New York. So I'm already, stepping foot into those boundaries. Now it's just about getting the correct accolades and meeting the right people, and the universe providing me with a path to where I can really take advantage of what I got going on and present it to the world and build that foundation that I've been longing for.
Do you produce your own music or do you work with other producers?
Produce, you mean like beats?
Or beats and yeah, your vocals, beats and vocals and all that stuff. Do you do it on your own or you?
It's a common question. Common question. I actually, yeah. So I have a team. You know what I'm saying? I'm very transparent about these kind of things. I would say that my music is more of, it's something I'm learning. I'm very business savvy. I think that's the best way to put it. I have a lot of business mindset. I have a lot of sales background and stuff. So a lot of that goes into running, my promotions and things like that, staying independent essentially, right? So I would say as far as music, I think that I definitely give the idea, but I definitely do work with other people, you know what I'm saying, to really articulate what I want to get across, because music is very subjective and it's very important that whatever you're trying to accomplish, whether it be you want somebody to feel a certain way, you want that word to stick out, you want that melody to stay in their head, you gotta team up with people. Teamwork makes the dream work.
True. That's true. That's true. But you guys want to talk more to our guest, Kayne D. But you guys, let's get back in this countdown. The number 11 song is another SZA song. This song is called Shirt. Let's get into it. Shirt by SZA on Big Old Top 20 Countdown. Yeah, you guys, that was a number 10 song with Miguel with Sure Thing. And it's time to get into the second extra song of the week. This song is by Kayne D. This song is called Love Me. I want to hear this story. I want to hear the story of this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so I would say that it's really just kind of like it's like an anthem, you know what I mean? Like a lot of my music has a common theme of heartbreak, being misunderstood, really feeling like an outsider. And, I think a lot of times a coping mechanism that people use is being in relationships or having a boo thing or, whatever, right? And so I think a big thing is going to be with Love Me. It's like, you're with this indecisive lover that they say they want you one moment, but then they don't. And you're living like a rock star, or whatever that looks like, on top of the world. And you're pulling up to these shows and these things and, things are looking great. But, this girl is able to kind of distract you from what you got going on, because underneath all of the glitter and glam and etc. of this life, there's true human beings and true human emotions. So, and especially when you're getting in front of, I guess I can say that I've now done it, but when you're getting in front of hundreds of thousands of people, like 100,000 people, you're putting yourself out there in a very vulnerable situation, to be judged, and sometimes the person or the entity that can swoop you away from that is the person that you feel romance towards. And a lot of times during these relationships nowadays, they're very toxic, and they're very manipulative or narcissistic. And, these are all labels that people kind of go hand in hand with. But I think this song really embodies, what a distraction can be like. And, like how maybe they may want you to settle down, but you have bigger plans and you got bigger goals. So it's important that they got to love you at your worst. They got to love you at your best, and they got to love you while you're on your journey.
That's right. That's right. You guys, let's get into it. This is the second extra song of the week. Kayne D. with Love Me on Big Woo's Top 20 Countdown, baby. Yeah. Yeah, that's another good song. I like that song. Love Me. All right now. I like that title. That's a good title. Who is one artist that you would really want to work with?
Well, just to touch back on the Love Me thing, music video's out for that. It's over 50K and it's been going crazy. And we have some really big plans for it. So make sure you check it out on YouTube. Just look up Kayne D. Find me on everything there. But yeah, there's that, self shameless plug.
It's all right. It's all right. That's why you're on the show,
but,
man.
Can you repeat the question? The next one?
I said, who is one artist that you really want to work with?
Right, one artist I want to work with. There's a lot of artists that are very talented. I think, off the rip, obviously MGK would be lit. Machine Gun Kelly. He would be, I think we would make a very divine track. But I think like on a, that's like a manifestation level, but like on a realistic level, I would love to work with like a Nico Raguso or Damian Styles. They are both been some people may not even know those names, but they're kind of in like that standing for the outsiders and the the weird emo kids and that alternative clan of just feeling alone, like that kind of stuff. And I think that we would make a really good track together, helping kids and adults and humans that feel misunderstood have a voice.
Wow, that is awesome. I already asked you about that. Already asked you about that. I had another question. Oh, Jesus. I already asked you about that. You know what? I'm gonna come back to it. We're gonna come back. You guys, let's go back in this countdown. The number 9 song comes from Metro Boomin, Future, and Chris Brown. This song is called Superheroes and Villains. Let's get into it. Superheroes and Villains by Metro Boomin, Future, and Chris Brown on Big Old Top 20 Countdown. Yeah, you guys, we did a 3 in a row for you. We did Metro Boomin, Future, and Chris Brown with Heroes and Villains. The number 8 song was Chris Brown by himself with Under the Influence. And number 7 was Coi Leray Players Remix. I think that I like that remix. That remix features, Busta Rhymes, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. You remember that? Of course you remember that. Yeah, he's looking at me like, oh, guess. Okay, you're too young for that.
No, I like the vibes. It's like the '90s music and the 2000s, good times.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's time to get into the independent song of the week. This is Kayne D. This song is called Stress Me Out. Tell me, please, please, please give me the story on this.
Stress me out. That's a big one because it's very personal. I mean, it's really different people identify with it different ways, and I think I like to keep it that way, um, instead of explaining the true story. But I would say that overall, it's really just to capture, counting on something, someone, um, some vibe, some mood to just like carry you through something, right? And teach you the ways and mend those things. And you just feel like it didn't do that. It crossed the line of a boundary that maybe you didn't necessarily want or, perceive. And then it happened. And it really just, you feel like you wasted your time. You dedicated your whole life, maybe, or maybe 10 years, a decade, maybe even 5 years, 4 years, high school, whatever it may be, right? Like there's no age, no matter, no number really, but you put your all into something and feel like you wasted your time. And at the end of the day, it really stresses you out. But at the same time, another instance could be you're just feeling stressed out, and you need a song to really just belt out, in your car, it's raining, you can't make rent, whatever realistic situation applies to the listener, is really just to give them an anthem. I'm really big on trying to make anthems, which really is just a song that people can relate to and really feel. And Stress Me Out is definitely by far my biggest song, as well as my most, I would say, relatable. It really goes into detail of just feeling like people doubt you all the time and things like that, and just going into the details of really honestly just grinding. You know what I mean? Blood, sweat, victory, success. Put all that together, those two, those entities, the hard work, you're going to reap the rewards, and that's why even, shameless plug again, Prize and Trophy, big brand I wear so much. It's my clothing line. And it really just has to do with, blood, sweat, and tears equals victory, success, and achievement. So you get out of it what you put into it.
That's awesome. But you guys, let's get into the independent song of the week. Kayne D was Stress Me Out on Big Old Top 20 Countdown. Yeah, you guys, that was Kayne D was Stress Me Out. I like that song. And you mentioned about your clothing line. What's the story behind your clothing line?
Well, my whole life, I've basically just kind of been told that, well, I wouldn't say like everybody, but I would say for a long time, the vast majority of people told me that I wouldn't be able to do half of the things that I did, I guess is the best way to put it. So it's like maybe graduating high school, or maybe being a professional dancer, or maybe being a rapper, or maybe being a rock star, right? There's always been some ounce of doubt that's repeated back to me, which unfortunately is a negative manifestation, and honestly kind of toxic, because at the end of the day, the more that you tell somebody they can't do something, not everybody's going to function off of that tough love. some people really need those words of affirmation to build them up to the next level. And I'm thankful for, the teammates and the partnerships that I do have. Typically I'd list them all, but it's a good list. Check out my Instagram. They're all there. But, they've all really believed in a kid from Tacoma, Washington that identifies as a friendly neighborhood rock star.
That's
And,
awesome.
my clothing line kind of just embodies that. It's like there's no handouts in this world. You got to work so hard you get lucky.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That is so true. Wow. So, where do you see yourself? Oh, where do you see yourself in like 5 years?
5 years.
Mhm.
I see the companies in which I have thriving, partnerships. There will probably be some additionals and some that unfortunately, we part ways due to views or whatever it may be. And I think that overall, I think I'll be successful for sure, whatever that may look like. Society has a really weird way of telling you what's successful. But I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you're not comparing yourself to anyone else besides yourself and not getting
Mhm.
lost in the numbers and everything else, I think that realistically successful is just being able to sustain your lifestyle and your ability through your art or whatever you're trying to do. And so I would say that in 5 years, I would be at least one step closer to being successful, if not successful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But you guys, let's get back in this countdown. The number 6 song comes from another Drake and 21 Savage song. This song is called Rich Flex. Let's get into it. Rich Flex by Drake and 21 Savage on Big Old Top 20 Countdown, baby. Yeah, y'all, that was the number 6 song. Drake. We did. I'm sorry, that was the number 5 song. Uzi Vert. That song is called Just Wanna Rock. Now it's time to get into the old school gem of the week. Last week, this man would have turned 60. Hold on, 61 and 60. He would have been 72. He would have been 72 years old. And this is one of my very favorite songs by the great and wonderful Luther Vandross. This song is called "Stop to Love." Let's get into it. "Stop to Love" by Luther Vandross on Big Old Top 20 Countdown, Old School Jam of the Week. Yeah, you guys, that was the Old School Jam of the Week. Luther Vandross with "Stop to Love." We're talking to our guest, Kayne D. It's time to get into your business. It's time to
Yeah.
get into your business. All right, now, don't take this personal, but I'm asking about. I ask everybody, what's the love life look like? Give shout out your boo thing.
Yes. Well, the way that I work is my music is about real life. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of it's either a manifestation or a situation that I've been through,
Yeah.
And so I would say that my love life, it looks, I spend a lot of my time focusing on my career. Obviously, human connection is important. So the best way to put it is I believe recently actually in non-monogamy. So that basically just means that maybe not one person can fill all those roles of romance. It's a pretty new way of thinking. There are definitely a group of people. Most people would consider it polyamorous.
That's what I
Uh,
was about to say. Yeah.
yeah. I would say non-monogamy, specifically ethical non-monogamy, is
Okay.
really just a new way of communicating. It's a new way of being able to communicate with your partner or partners. Hey, I like this girl. I want to kiss her. And then they're like, okay, that's if you have, a partner that you're like really kind of almost exclusive with, like
Yeah.
where it's a for real solid partner, not so much of the, hey, I'm non monogamous. We're just hanging out for a little bit kind of thing. Right. I guess
Okay.
that would be the separation. So I would just say, honestly, I
Mhm.
believe in experiences and moments. Like if we're going to the beach together, maybe we met at a show and afterward we're going to the beach the next day or something like that. I only say the beach because I'm right outside the beach right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
whatever it may be, the date night and things, just experience those moments and those experiences because we all are guaranteed a few things in life. One is birth. Well, actually not birth. One is death.
Mhm.
And one is, taxes and finding your purpose. Right. I
Yeah.
guess those kind of like loop together, maybe three things. But, those are the three things that are very important in life. And I think that anything else that may distract you from those is important too, because sometimes it's not the best to always be thinking about those things because at the end of the day, you're kind of like, manifesting them and things like that. And when it comes to your experiences and things like that, you could buy a million things in the world, but if you have nothing to show for it, then like, what is it really? You know what I mean? You could burn through $200,000 or something crazy and you may never ever have anything to show anyone to be like, dang, look at these things, look at look at this bag I bought. Oh, wait, you can't because that bag is no longer existent. But I can say that I went to the Bahamas and performed in the Bahamas as a rapper before I was even a rapper. And I have a
Wow.
video of it, right? So it's like, that's an experience, right? Experiences and moments. And so bringing it back to the love question, yeah, I mean, I think I have some experiences and moments with some girls, and it's a good time. You know, I think that human connection is very important, and it's good to always recharge.
That's cool. That's cool. You just crossed over to my other question. Was I was going to say, just say something inspirational. You got one more. We got 1 minute to say something inspirational, and then when it gets to 1 minute, I'll cut you off. Go for it. Just say whatever you want to say.
1 minute to say something inspirational. You know, I don't know who needs to hear this today, but your friendly neighborhood rock star Kayne D has to say, be true to what you want to do. You know,
Okay.
I think that at the end of the day, you only have your thoughts in your mind, and no one is going to go as hard for you as you. So that's really it. You know, really stick to what you want to do. And even though some things can compromise and become a roadblock, you got to keep going. You got to keep doing your thing. You got to keep pushing and create that routine and have a healthy support system and believe in yourself.
That's awesome.
People aren't going to believe in you unless you believe in yourself.
That's right. That's right. You ain't lying about that. Wow. And with that, we're going to get back in this countdown. The number 4 song comes from Beyonce. This is her latest single called Cuff It. Let's get into it. Cuff It by Beyonce. Oh, and before I begin with the song, I should tell her, make your tickets for free. No, I'm not going to say that. But you guys, let's get into the number 4 song by Beyonce. The song is called Cuff It on Big Old South 20 Countdown. Yeah, you guys, we did a 3 in a row for you. We did Beyonce Cuff It. The number 3 song was The Weeknd, Die For You. And the number 2 song was another Metro Booming song. It's by Metro Booming, The Weeknd, and 21 Savage. This song is called Creeping. Now it's time to get to the number 1 song. The number 1 song is by the ruler of this count. This song has been number 1 for weeks. I'm telling you, this has got a stranglehold at the number 1. This is by SZA. And this song is called Kill Bill. Let's get into it. The number 1 song, Kill Bill by SZA on Big Stop 20 Countdown, baby. Yeah. Yeah, you guys, that was the number 1 song, SZA with Kill Bill. Kayne, how can people reach you?
How can they reach me? I actually have a website, kaynedinell.com. You can find all my merch. We'll have updates on there periodically with shows and things like that. You know, I have a show in Hollywood tomorrow. I have a show in Seattle. Tomorrow would be March 2nd. I have a show in Seattle March 3rd, and I have a show in New York with 58 Projects, my publishing partners, March 11th. You know, and so you can keep up to date. I like to perform, like to stay active in the music community, and so you can find me on Instagram, Kayne D, find me on TikTok, Kayne D, everything social media wise, Kayne D. That's KAYNEDYNELL. And if you just want to see some of the stuff that I've done and some of the vlogs and things that I've put together over the years and over my time here on YouTube, things like that, just look up hashtag, and then same thing, just put Kayne D. You'll be entered into the world of your friendly neighborhood rock star.
Right, that's right. I want to say thank you to our guest, Kayne D. Also want to say thank you to the radio stations that are hosting us, the Block FM, Vibe Hits Radio, and recently reunited with Kill Radio, the people that we started with. And I can't believe it, but this is our 265th show. Wow, 7 seasons. We're still doing it. I want to say thank you to everyone who's listening. And you guys, before I go, we got to get the, if you want to reach me, it's www.linktree.com/OLUSHEYI. And you'll find this show on there as well. The thought for the week is keep going higher and you will reach your goal. And we usually play a gospel song, but because of Luther's birthday, we're going to play one of my favorite songs by him. The song is called Heaven Knows. Let's get into it. Heaven Knows by Luther Vandross. May God bless you. May God keep you until we meet again.